So anyway, Gary, if you could introduce yourself, say when you were born and when, well, let me ask you, did you live in Star from birth? Or did you move here?
We moved here.
Okay, so if you could introduce yourself when you were born and when you came to Star.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay. I'm Gary Enzminger. We moved to Star here from Eagle in the early 1950s. I was born in 1946, and it was around 51, 52, we moved into Star from Eagle. We farmed just north of the grade school. I started grade school there, went through the 6th grade there. We had a dairy farm. It's the first place just north of the school. And I don't know, we had roughly about 80 acres there, had dairy cows, and there were 7 of us children, and my two older sisters, they were college age, and they were already gone, and but we milked 20 head of cows there, and my mother could milk them by herself if she had to. 2 older brothers helped, and I was pretty little, but I did feed the calves and the pigs and stuff like that. But the silo is still sitting out there on the place. It's all under houses now. But we farmed that, and as far as things we did as kids, the Star had a riding club, 4-H FFA riding club, and they would meet down at the school to practice with their horses. And I remember going down there, and Irene Turner was, they were great quarter horse people. They had beautiful horses and well trained, and Irene would let me ride her horse. And same as the Rosses. I was friends with the Ross boys, and they had their quarter horses there also. And Jimmy, one of the Ross boys, would let me ride his horse around. So I got to ride some real good quarter horses when I was just a little twerp. So, and we moved off of that farm and moved into Star here on 1st Street, and sold everything, sold the machinery and the cows and everything. Moved into Star. My dad worked at the Meridian Creamery, and that's why I say my mother could do the milking, because sometimes she had to do it by herself. And with milkers, that went pretty fast. But he worked at night at the creamery, and so my mother does most of the work. And then we moved to Star, and
were you, when you moved into town, were you still going to school at the elementary school, or were you going to the junior high? Or
okay, well, we moved off the farm into the smaller farm. I remember I was in the 5th grade. And then after the 6th grade, went to Eagle Junior High. And then from there went to Meridian High. They bused us. And growing up, we these hot summer days, most of the things we did as kids, we went swimming. And we either went down to the Mill Slough, which is to the north, or went to the Boise River, jumped off that old bridge, the old bridge that was there. So if we went swimming, if we weren't working or something, we'd end up down either the Boise River or the Mill Slough. And just about every day we could.
That sounds, I mean, we've talked with other people, and that sounds like it was one of the favorite activities for all the kids in town, was to go swimming during the summer. Did you picnic, camp, or do anything else around the river?
No, not really. Not really camping. We had some kids that built a. They were a little older than me, but they built a cabin down here on the river, just east of the bridge, and they would stay in it. I never did spend the night there, but some of the other kids did.
So what other summer activities did you have with your friends?
Okay, we had swimming. Those hot days, we'd do a lot of swimming. In fact, we'd probably run home and do chores or whatever, and we'd come back at night, like down at the Mill Slough, and we'd build a fire down there and swim at night. And we spent a lot of our time swimming. Another friend of mine, we had motorcycles, and he and I went down the river, just the other side of the river, and built a little motorcycle track. And we'd spend hours and days down there just going around that track, and had to jump in it. And so there was swimming and motorcycling, and that was about it.
And horseback riding when you had the opportunities? Yeah. What kind of work did you do around the farm? You said you fed the cattle, but what other kind of things did you do around the farm?
Well, we had to take care of the calves, the baby calves and stuff, had to feed them. If you know anything about farming, there's all kinds of work to do all the time. You never get caught up. And anyway, we got married and left to Star for a few years, and then we moved back here about 10 years ago, and then we just now moved to the Eagle area, and to get away from the farm work. And so we've downsized now and live in Eagle.
Second, let me. When you were growing up, what were your memories of Star? What did it look like? I know there were a lot of things that got moved, so that clearly the town was changing while you were growing up. But what are your memories of Star growing up?
I remember as a little guy, the Star Christian Church. It had what I thought was a beautiful church, an old type steeple, and all hardwood floors and what have you. And they moved that church, picked the church up, moved across the street to Willis Egg Farm, and Sherm Willis, he made a chicken barn out of it, 2-story chicken barn. And then the church was rebuilt with cinder block. And in fact, it's one of the things I did when in junior high and high school, I worked for Willis Egg Farm and done building for him, after school and stuff. He built a couple of new chicken barns, and we built the roosts and the nests and stuff like that. It was a pretty good job for back in those days. Having a job was good. And I remember the Hadley hardware store burning down. We were out milking cows and seeing all that smoke coming from, looked like Star was on fire. Well, it was. Yeah, the Hadley's hardware store was all, it had wooden sidewalks, everything was wooden, and all that caught on fire. So we finished milking the cows, and my sisters and whoever was there, we walked up to Star and stood behind here on the street and watched it burn down completely. And then after that, a Hoffman service station came in. Guy and Eldon Ross had a standard station there where the pumps are there now. That was a standard station. And from there, they moved from across the street. I think there is a bar there now. That was a standard station. And they built a new station. They moved in it, and they were there quite a few years. And then the Texaco station came in, which now is the cafe over here. And it was turned into the Texaco station into a cafe. And that was in the 1960s when all that happened. And other changes, the place down the street there was a gymnasium, and we had played basketball in it. The Star Grade School used it, I remember, to play ball in. And roller skating. On Friday nights, a guy would come out with roller skates, and he'd rent roller skates, and that happened about every Friday night. Well, the changes, this place right here where we're sitting, starting at the property line here, that way was a Star lumberyard. This was all lumberyard back here. Over to the, well, taken in the cafe, I remember over there where the cafe was, they had old coal bins. Back in the day, people used coal to burn with, and they had bins of coal, different sizes. And that would have been right across the street from the Star Merc. And I remember the street was really small. And so that was all a lumberyard. And and Iva Jean's Cafe was next to the store on the east side. Had a cafe and a bar in the back. And I don't know what happened to it. I think they tore it down evidently. And then beside the cafe was an old blacksmith shop right across the street, right next to it. And an old boy would do blacksmith work in there. I remember driving my bicycle, and I'd drive right into his place, and drive around in there and come back out. And his name was, remember his name was Etchison. And he was an old timer way back. Yeah, Iva Jean, they had a son. They ran the bar and cafe. They adopted this little boy, and the boy actually he grew up in a bar, but he turned out Chuck Sackett was his name, and Glenn and Iva were his folks, and he ended up going to Bible college and became a professor, and really a sharp kid, came out of a bar, went into the ministry. Yeah.
Were the, I know, well, there what used to be the interurban lines, the old streetcar. I think that had stopped running by the time you were here. But the lines ran through town, the rails ran through town. Were they still here when you, do you remember those, I should say?
Yeah, that was before my time. But yeah, I hear there were rails, probably, I don't know if they're still buried down there, probably are, I would guess. But I remember that trolley sitting out here on the other side of town. I don't know what it was, just vacant, sitting there for many years. And then now it's down at the other end of town as I think it's a coffee shop and sandwich store. So. But I remember seeing it. That's all.
There was a depot of some kind here in town too, wasn't there?
That was again before my time, but like I say, it was probably, I'm guessing it's probably over here where the trolley was sitting.
When you mentioned the gymnasium, did you ever go there to roller skate or for
Yes.
dances or any of those kind of things?
Yes, I tried to make it to all the roller skating parties, and they, like I say, the school used it too. I remember the school used it like for our Christmas plays and stuff. That's because Star grade school didn't have a gym or anything like that. And then the lady that ran the place, the gym, she would let us get enough guys together that she'd let us open the door for us and go in there and we'd play basketball stuff in there. And her son was one of the boys, so we played ball a lot. Yeah.
Where was this?
Yeah. So, and this was in the gym associated with the school?
Well, I don't know if it was associated with it, but we used it for stuff.
So we have them like reiterate like what it was that they're what you're.
Oh, well, where was it that you said that they had Christmas plays in there, roller skating and playing basketball, but what building was it and where was it?
Oh, well, the building's still there, and it has different stores in it. There's an antique store, a beauty salon. That was all one building.
Can you tell me? Would you tell me about the Christmas plays? I imagine that was a big deal.
Yeah. Everybody would it'd pack the place, set up chairs, and they had benches along the sides, and that was all packed. All the people came, and they'd put on the Christmas play. The whole thing was We Three Kings and Jesus' birthday and all that.
Were you ever in any of the plays?
Yeah, I was. Yeah. And I remember that. I remember I was one year I was one of the kings, We Three Kings, and also they'd have the school would put on parties down there, carnivals, and that just came to me just now, but I remember that. So the school did use it, but I don't know who owned it.
What other civic events did they have around town? Parties, parades? I heard that they had, among other things, tent revivals. Do you remember those growing up?
No, probably
Okay.
before my time.
Okay. And I know Auctions, that's another thing I heard.
They did have auctions there, right. And at that time, I don't remember the guy's name, but he owned the place, he bought the place. And there were other buildings hooked on to the gym. And I remember he tore it all down, and he was an auctioneer. And he'd done some auctioning. He, people bring in their stuff, sell it. He'd sell it, auction it off. And also back to the dances, they had dances, and the same guy that brought out the roller skates from Boise, he brought out his rig, and of course he had all the music and stuff. So kids danced to the whatever music he had there, whatever was going at the time.
Where you said you mentioned tearing down buildings near the gym. Where were the auctions being conducted?
Well, in the gym.
Okay.
Auctions were in the gym, but there were, like I remember on the west side, they had an apartment there up top, and that's all gone now. But the gym's still there.
And school, what were you involved in sports, or were there other school activities that you were involved in?
Well, back in those days, they didn't have much for sports. We didn't have anything really. Like I say, we went down to the gym and played around with basketball a little bit, but never did have any games. We didn't really play basketball or sports till we got to Eagle Junior High, and it was like the 8th grade before they started you. Now they start you out really young. And so I actually didn't touch a basketball till I was like in the 6th grade, and really didn't play till I was in the 8th grade. So.
Where's the barber shop?
Oh, where was the barber shop here in town?
Okay, the barber shop was right at the corner of where the store is now.
The store, the Star Merc, or
Star Merc. It was right there on the corner.
But I'm assuming that's where you got haircuts.
Yeah.
Can you talk about would you talk about the barber, and just, I know growing up, going to the barber shop was a big deal for me.
Yeah.
Because I got to hang out with all the men.
Right.
So do you have memories, or could you share some memories from?
Yeah. We hung out at the barber shop a lot just to BS with everybody, with the barbers, and it was a kind of a meeting place. But I'd like to get haircuts there. They'd shave you, and put that smelly stuff on you, and put it on your hair and stuff, and you smell pretty good for a day or two.
You said you BS with them. What kind of stuff would you talk about?
Oh, just anything and everything. Some of the younger farmers would be in there just to come in to talk, and I don't know how they made any money with it. They charged $1 a haircut, it jumped up to $1.25, I think, at one time. And that was attached to the other end of the building, and then of course the gas station, and there were some buildings on back too. Ma Bell had a building back there, Bell Telephone, and there was the barber shop, and then there was a bar between the barber shop and the Star Merc, and of course it went straight back, and it was old. It was called Time for Five. And that was there a long time. It was probably built way back when. And then from there was some couple other stores there that I remember they were vacant as long as I could remember. And then when they remodeled, they tore all that out, and which is the store now. You walk into the store. You walk into the store. You're in the old, where the cashiers are at. That was the bar, Time for Five bar. They extended the grocery store and done the remodeling there.
You mentioned that you were working for Willis in junior high doing construction work, so you're making a little money. What did you do with your money?
It went fast. It really didn't have that much money, but like at night he would hire all the high school kids that we could round them up, and like he would have to take chickens, hundreds of chickens out of this barn, put in the other one, and of course they vaccinated them and done whatever they needed to do, and so go in and catch. Well, we'd have somebody catching, and they'd hand you 5 chickens in this hand, 5 in this hand. You have to walk over to the other thing and work them. They'd cut their beaks, top beak off, and vaccinate them, and you do that. That'd take several hours to move all them chickens, and that would be done at night. And then I got on working weekends with him, just building stuff around the place.
I imagine that would be moving chickens and stuff, especially during the summer. That's pretty hot work.
Yeah. It's pretty messy. And then after they move the chickens, they clean out the barns, and they would. That was a job. That's really bad stuff to clean out. And
yeah, imagine the odor would be pretty strong.
The ammonia was really bad.
Do you have any other? This may seem like an odd question, but are there other things you remember about the smells in town? Either maybe the mint fields or
mint fields they smell good. Yeah. In fact, when I was working for Willis one summer, I was probably I don't know, probably getting into high school, and got into cleaning out chicken barns. They cleaned chicken barns out all the time because they had so many chickens, and that's when I quit the chicken farm and went to my coach said this summer go out and haul hay. So I quit there and went to hauling hay.
You mentioned earlier that you moved from the larger farm to a smaller farm. So you were with a smaller farm here in town?
Yeah, it was just down the street, First and Frost. We had about 5 acres there. We come off the farm on the 5 acres, and we did keep a couple of cows just for our own milk, and I think we still had the milk delivered to Meridian. But we downsized a lot there, and my dad did raise a few, some pigs, and I remember he had pigs and a few cattle, probably butcher cattle and stuff.
What are your favorite memories growing up here?
Favorite memories. I'll never forget those hot days and swimming, and a lot of us kids got together to do that. We did a lot of bike riding when we moved into town. Well, like I say, I think I was in the 5th grade. A lot of bicycle riding. Then we got into motorcycles and
Who are the kids you hung out with? I mean, do you stay in touch with any of the people you ran with when you were a kid, and who are they?
yeah, we do. Some of the kids that we kind of graduated with, some of them still live here in Star, and we were talking about that earlier, and that they need to come forward and give their views.
Yeah, so who are some of your friends that are still around here?
Well, there's Karen Poole Shields, and Pools they were a big family here in Star. He was the plumber here in Star, and Sandy Taylor, her dad was the Marcus in the gas station. They owned the gas station, and she would probably have a lot of pictures of the. We have pictures, but we don't know where they're at, especially after this last move. But there are a lot of pictures around. Let's see, there's Russ Poole. He lives here in Star still. He's the son of the younger son.
How about the Fosters, the Kirkleys, Rosses?
Yeah.
I know they're longtime families around here. Imagine they had kids that were your age.
Yes. Jimmy Ross, they had quarter horses, and they just lived south of town here a ways. And Jimmy was my age, and he's the one that let me ride his quarter horse all the time. The Kellers. And I used to know all the farmers around here. I can tell you who used to farm this place back in the 1950s and 60s. But that's all changed hands a couple times now.
I should ask, do you have children that you raised here?
Yeah, we moved away from Star here. In fact, and we moved over on Linder Road, which is in the Meridian area. And in fact, when we moved out of Star, we lived in the Star Apartments, which is now where McDonald's is at. There were some old apartments there, and we were living there just before we made this move to our place. And then we lived up there for 30 years, and then we moved back to Star here. And then we moved back to Eagle just in the last few months. And there's a lot more names. Oh, the Knutsons, that was a big family here in Star. Knutsons.
So
You talked about your first job, and you made it sound like you sound really grateful to even have that job. Do you remember what you got paid at your first job doing the chicken farm stuff?
Yeah, I do.
And I'll have you talk to Dean. So
how much did you earn working for the Willises?
Myself and Billy Knutson, we were the main workers there, and he paid us $1 an hour, which was pretty good. See, this would be back in the 60s.
Yeah, that's a pretty good salary. I remember my first job, I was making 75 cents an hour, and I thought that was great. So,
before that, I also bucked bales for a guy, Moyer. Moyer is another name. Floyd Moyer. I worked for him, and he paid a penny a bale. But by the end of the day, you made like $8-9, which is still good.
You must have been pretty fit, because it's not easy moving a bale of hay.
No, and I've actually done it all my life. When we moved up on Linder, I worked out, and I also had another farm there that I rented, and I hated it. Raised horses and cows, and it's hard work.
So was that the only, I'm curious what other work you did, especially after you got married. What other work did you do in the area? You said farming.
Okay, did some farm. I worked for a ranch up here, Quarter Circle DJ, the big outfit up there for a couple years. And then I went to work at the overhead door company, and I worked there for 30-some years and retired. Well, I didn't. Yeah, I retired, and then we moved back here to Star. Hated to leave Star, but the house we had was just too much to take care of, a lot to take care of, and now we just have a little house and little yard.
Tell us about the motorcycle track you all established.
Yeah, I think I mentioned that.
Yeah. So
The motorcycle track is something that I just made up down there, and of course I always go by and I say, there's our old racetrack, and I see the boys down there that own the place. They level it off, and they're selling hay off of that place.
So if a haircut was $1 and you were getting $1 an hour, you said you would do swimming. Do you remember what some things cost? Did it cost money to go swimming?
No.
Okay. What other things? If you did motorcycles, I guess maybe it cost you in fuel. Do you remember what fuel prices were for your motorcycle?
Back in the day, it would cost you about 20-some cents a gallon. And I remember the gas wars they had back then, it cost you 23 cents a gallon to pick it up, gas here. Go to Caldwell and get it for 19 cents, something like that. And they had penny candy bars at the candy at the store, and 5-cent popsicles. You really had a lot of money when you bought a dime ice cream bar. They cost a dime. Yeah.
you've been around, I know you've moved around back and forth, but you've seen a lot of changes in Star. Were there any things that you were sad to see change or go away, or things that you were excited to see come into town?
Well, the lumber yard here was a big deal. It stretched from here clear to the fire. It was a fire station there, which is a mechanic shop now. That was a big item.
How about, I know most of the roads in the area were gravel roads.
Right.
I imagine that was fun on bicycles and motorcycles racing around.
Yeah, all these roads back here were gravel. Well, in town here they were gravel roads. And like as a kid on a bicycle, we would ride up to that hill up there, then turn around and run back down. We'd go up Canada Road, that steep hill, and coast down it. That was quite a thrill for us. We did that a lot. A lot of the changes right here, this building here, this lady another named Lamberts used to live in this house right over here. And when we moved to town, got rid of all our milk cows and stuff, we had to have milk. We would buy milk from, she had a little dairy here, and you could buy a gallon of milk for 50 cents. We'd throw 50 cents in a jar and bring it in, pick up a new one, and that's how we got our milk. And her house is still here, the next house over here.
Just had something I was going to ask about. Did you ever have, were you here when the valley flooded? When the Boise River overflowed?
No, but I was here when the water came pretty close to Star here. In the past years, it would flood over. Middleton would flood out pretty good. But any real flood, no, I don't, before my time.
As a kid in town, did you have to spend a lot of time checking in with your parents, or how did your day go? I mean, were you feel safe?
Oh yeah, we felt safe, but no, we didn't have. We just did what we wanted to do. If we had chores to do, we had to do them, and then be gone. Gone all day working or riding bikes or doing something.
Well, I would like to give you an opportunity. Is there anything that we haven't talked about, or that you think we should know about growing up in Star?
Not at this moment, but later on I'd probably come up with some stuff.
That is the way memory works.
Yeah.
Will you?
You can talk loud if you need to.
Oh, yeah, well, I do.
No, you're fine. I don't think he can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. Brother.
One thing I'm accused of is having a lot of automobiles, and we would trade automobiles with my brothers and cousins, and anyway, ended up with a lot of nice cars during my high school and beyond years. But
When did you first? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, like, I had a 57 Mercury, 57 Ford, and a 57 Chevy. In high school, I had a 57 Chevy. And now they're popular cars. Either one of them would have been good cars. Then I had a bunch of other cars. But we done a lot of swapping around, trading, stuff like that.
How much you pay for your
What did a car cost you back then?
I bought that 57 Ford from a school teacher who lives in one of Kirtley's houses down here. Where the wine tasting thing is. Bill Kirtley lived there with his kids. And I bought that 57 Chevy, beautiful car, black and red. Anyway, I paid $350 for it, which was a lot of money, but it was a good deal too.
I can appreciate it. My first car that I bought in high school, 57 Ford Fairlane.
Yeah, that's what mine was. Yeah.
Yours sounds like it was in better shape than mine. I paid $100 for mine and spent a lot of time working on it.
Yeah. Well, I drive it around, and people say, "Did you get a new car?" No, this is a 57.
So when did you get your driver's license, or when did you first start driving?
Well, when I was 14. Yeah. You could get your license at 14. You couldn't drive at night until 16. But you could drive in the daytime at 14.
Where did you drive? I mean, when you had the car, what did you do? Where did you drive?
Well, drive it to work and stuff, and I would drive like to Eagle, see friends, or Middleton, and that's about as far as we got. Yeah.
You should hitchhike.
Before I had a car, hitchhike a lot.
Oh,
Yeah, we'd hitchhike home from Eagle Junior High after ball practice, and talking about no fear, we could hitchhike with no problem at all. Beat the bus, activity bus home. Especially the bus would go the other direction, and we'd be the last to unload here at Star. And we just walk out on the highway and catch a ride in no time at all.
that's something that's changed a great deal.
Yes.
So, you feel like Star was a good place to grow up?
Yeah, I think it was. It was I remember just nice, friendly people. All my friends, the guy in Eldon at the gas station, Chevron gas station, they call it Hoffman service station. I guess Hoffman must have owned it, I don't know, but they were good people. Yeah. And growing up, I ended up trucking, and tires kept blowing out of my truck, and guy in Eldon, they gave me a new set of tires, didn't charge me anything. I said, well, they shouldn't blow out, so I got a free set of tires, duals, for my truck. But yeah, they were, Max Conico was over in this area. They were just all good people. Everybody knew everybody.
Guy would send you money.
Oh yeah. I borrowed money from, we called him Markey, Guy Markey. I wanted to buy a motorcycle, and I didn't have the money, and so he went in the back room, gave me the money. I don't know what it was, $300, $400, $500, I think it was. I went out and bought the motorcycle. Then I went to pay him back, and he just grabbed the money and put it back. And I says, "Didn't you write it down?" No, he didn't write anything down. So that's the kind of people that were here.
All built on trust.
Yeah.
I think, Gary, I want to say thank you very much for taking the time to talk with us. It's been interesting. And thank you for the additional information. I know Lynn has got some more things that, more people to follow up on, but thank you
yeah.
very, very much. I've enjoyed it.
Thank you.